Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Day Mystic Show. Our mission here is to help you turn whatever you desire into real-life manifestations by sharing our revolutionary technology to make that happen for you. We bring you such cutting-edge information through our resident wizard, Peter Schenk, and also through such magical guests each week that are really making a difference to improve our lives on a variety of levels. I am your co-host, Donna, along with the founder of this program, the Modern Day Mystic himself, Peter Schenk. Peter, how are you?
How are you? I'm doing good. Thank you. Busy, busy, busy. A lot of things going on over here, as you already know. Folks, we came up with a brainstorm this week, and we were thinking about doing a blog on the website, and I was in the shower where I get most of my brilliant ideas, and we decided to create a video blog, and we call it the MDM Minute. Each day, sometimes in the middle of the night or in the morning, I will do a 1-minute video to share a useful piece of information with you. It'll be on the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it. You'll get an update when it comes out, but I've taken the commitment to do at least one a day, and they're going to range from a wide, broad stroke of topics in my expertise and the crowd that I run in. We'll be having frequently asked questions about the software. I'll be teaching you little techniques of programming water. I'm going to be doing a lot of things outdoors this fall, showing you how to manipulate energy within nature, a whole lot of things. And if it really gets popular, we're going to get Donna to do a couple of them. Right, Donna? You going to get in there and do a couple? Okay, so before we introduce our fabulous guest tonight, I'd like everyone to get out a glass of water, please. In traditional MDM fashion, I'd like you to take your left hand and raise it over the glass about 3 inches and spread your fingers. In a second, you'll feel that energy running down through your hand into the water. Energy, physical form or non-physical form, will do anything for you as long as you acknowledge its existence. I'd like everyone to put their attention on their water and repeat these simple words out loud. I honor the space in which you exist. Energy flow through your hand will increase. We are doing a slight twist on the programming tonight. We're programming it with etherical sacred geometry. Never done it before. I borrowed some of the energy from our guests, and boom, it's going into the water. Bottoms up. Oh my God, that tastes fourth dimensional, Donna.
Yum.
Can you please tell us about our guest tonight?
Absolutely. Gladly. When people meet Gregory and Gail Hoag, they sense a rare relationship full of consciousness and love. Gregory, scientist and leading expert on sacred geometry, along with Gail, artist, business, and health consultant, founded Metaforms 31 years ago. They create energetic tools that support people to evolve into higher awareness with source and heart consciousness. They are recognized as experts on sacred geometry technologies with renewing health, raising consciousness, reducing stress, manifesting purpose, and clearing electromagnetic interference. They live in a rural area in Lyons, Colorado, along with their 2 daughters. Welcome to the Modern Day Mystic Show, Gail and Gregory Hoag.
Gregory, Gail, how are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, nice to see you, Peter.
We are out of our skulls excited to have you on the MDM show. So please, without further ado, tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
Well, I've been working with sacred geometry for over 40 years, and what that means by working with it, really a lot of it came after I went through a Kundalini experience in the late 70s when I started seeing the geometries that exist before things come into the physical dimension. And I started being able to connect with a lot of the higher vibrational beings that exist on other dimensional levels, and that's where I started getting the information about sacred geometry. They spoke to me, they showed me forms, and I started building them. And what happened was people would pick up some of these geometries. I mean, things, things like this that I would build in metal, and people would
It's like
start
a,
having
it's like
experience.
a giant Lego set for adults. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
It is. It is fun to play with shape, and the nice thing is it's taking everything that we see around us in the natural world, the way plants grow, the way human beings are, the way rocks crystallize, the way things on a molecular level exist. Everything follows patterns and rhythms, cycles, even time is part of understanding sacred geometry. And so when you start working with all these different elements and bringing them together, and we've become more and more sophisticated over the last 30 years together as a business, we've been putting this out to the world, making things sometimes small enough for people to wear around their neck. That's what we've done over time, is just shrink everything into a compact space so people can have an experience of the energy that comes through that space.
So let's rewind a little bit. What is sacred geometry fundamentally at its basics? What is it, and how does it, how does it interact with us every day?
Well, when we go into nature, I mean, there you have sacred geometry in its perfection, because everything that's naturally created in this world follows particular patterns. And you don't have one atom becoming another until it changes its geometry. And so when we go into nature, we often find that we're in a very relaxed, calm state. And when we do our daily lives and we're in front of computers and we're in buildings and we have a lot of cement around us and a lot of frequencies coming in from cell phones, from everything, it's difficult to maintain that sacred space, that sense of connection. And so what we do with our geometries is literally allow people to connect to their higher self and allow that energy to flow through all the time. And so sacred geometry is really using the geometry that exists around us in nature, in the real world. And the more I think we understand how to bring the right elements together and use the right shapes, the more sacred it becomes, because it starts leading us to the higher sacred part of ourselves.
And I think that's really the essence of it, is that we're sacred beings. And we're here on this physical plane. Sometimes it's really hard to, kind of move through the illusion of what's here and recall who we are. And, we are souls who have come to this planet. We have so much to explore. We have so much to bring here. And I believe that that's really our mission, is to bring these higher realms, the love, the consciousness, the qualities that we can implant on this magnificent planet. And it's hard. It's hard when we're so surrounded by all the things that distract us, and that belief that we're just physical beings. We're so much more than that. And sacred geometry is an amazing vehicle to remind us how to be all of who we can be, and to actually offer us the antenna systems, the pathways to be our full selves.
A lot of it, Peter, is like what you just did with the water. When you work with intent, water responds. It's an amazing element, water. It's an element that bridges from this dimension into the higher dimensions. And there are many different ways that water can restructure itself and literally form patterns. like when we freeze water, it moves into a hexagonal pattern.
I know something about that.
Yeah. And so, that's it. What it's all about is creating coherence through a structure. And so that's what we do with sacred geometry, with shapes other than just the hexagonal shape, the snowflake shape that we see in water. Well, everything has particular shapes and rhythms and cycles to it, and we can draw upon those, combine them in certain ways, and create things that create coherence within us, that create connection and calm within us. And even, our thoughts get in the way all the time. When we get upset, when we get angry, when we get sad, we disconnect from who we are. We disconnect from that flow of energy that wants to come through from the source level of our being. And there are many different dimensions that exist around us, and here we are in the physical. And what we're doing with our tools is creating a pathway of coherence so that energy can flow into this dimension and into our lives, and we react to that energy in such a positive way. I mean, that's what you've been exploring with water, and seeing how we can shift our internal energy and the environment around us when we're in a stable, coherent, just calm state within. And we can do that by bringing things into our environment, and that's what sacred geometry is about.
So Gregory, I use sacred geometry in the software. I use it in our master classes. I use it quite a bit, but I only utilize two-dimensional sacred geometry. So, how do you engage your work with three-dimensional sacred geometry, and what's the difference between the two?
The biggest difference is, okay, there, I've just drawn a star, which is a six-pointed star, which is reflective of water and so forth. Now, the thing about sacred geometry on this level, it's like, you see, where is it now? When you're working with 2D, it doesn't truly exist in this third dimension. What brings it into energetic existence is your consciousness. So you're playing very heavily on what you're bringing to that image, what you're bringing to that picture through your energy field, your consciousness. But when you have something that exists in this dimension and it's three-dimensional, then it has a three-dimensional resonance, and it's capable of reaching into higher dimensions because of its physical existence here. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, but I'm going to throw you for a loop. Is that Metatron's cube?
That's Metatron's cube. And you see, most people think of Metatron's cube in only one way. They think of it in this flat geometry. And it doesn't have nearly the energy of something that's three-dimensional, because then when you look at it from the edge, or you look at it from the face, we have a totally different geometry. So what I've done in the pendants and things that we wear, I've taken those three perspectives of a three-dimensional form, and when I put them into a two-dimensional space, all three of those, as we've done here with this particular geometry. See, there are 9 images there, but really that's of 3 different forms. And I've garnered those 3 perspectives, and when I have that on a non-conductive background, it will pick up, when you surround it with a circle, it becomes a unity, and I can project, or it will pick up 3-dimensional energy in a two-dimensional surface.
So if you were to draw Metatron's cube on a piece of paper, you're looking at a two-dimensional image. But
Right.
you're saying if you have it as a physical construct in the third dimension, it resonance frequency. It raises its own vibration because
It's
you.
a,
Now, in my world, I play with energies connected to everything. We're all connected because we're all made up of energy. So if you look at that two-dimensional piece of paper, but you know what Metatron's cube looks like in three-dimension, and you pull that three-dimension into your conscious mind, which really is the engine that drives all of reality, what's the difference between that and having it physically in your hand?
well, that's what I said before. I said the two-dimensional image, the nature of that is what you bring to it. It's your intention. It's your consciousness.
Right.
So,
But
you
you're
know,
now taking the two-dimensional image and you're creating that three-dimensional, that Cartesian map in your head of Metatron's cube in 3D. So now, in my imagination, I have Metatron's cube. I can turn it, I can twist it, I can see it just like you had in the camera. What's the difference between that image in my head in 3D versus the physical device?
the only difference is the amount of effort it takes for you to keep that focus while you're taking advantage of the energy and moving on to other things.
Thank
It's
you.
like this is something that just supports you, and then it's still, in the end, even though this is here in the physical, it's a tool. And what I mean by a tool is something like a hammer that I could give to you. Maybe you'd be skillful enough to build a house, but when you're done, you still built the house. The hammer didn't do it. In the process, you might hit your thumb. It's not the hammer's fault. It's still what you bring to it.
And you just answered actually a question that people ask me all the time. Why would I need software to program water? And you just spoke it beautifully in a different light. Thank you for that. So why is it important that people use three-dimensional geometry in their lives?
You want me to talk?
I can. You just
Come on,
consider-
Gail, get in here.
Hey, thank
I'll
you,
let you
Peter.
jump in.
Okay. You know, one of the things, Peter, that people may not realize is that these shapes as antenna systems are actually vibrating. They're vibrating at certain frequencies. So there is an energy that you can feel off of it. You know, just like an antenna system that is retrieving information from, you know, satellites, from, you know, whatever it is all over, it's able to bring in a huge amount of information that then is downloaded so people can do something with it. Those, that whole thing of antennas is a whole new thing. We're learning more and more about how within our DNA, for instance, there is what we call the junk DNA that science doesn't know quite what it does. They're antenna systems that are there to enable us to connect in with those higher dimensional realms of who we actually are. Now, consciously, you know, there's a lot of people that are working on how they can elevate their consciousness, their DNA, their, you know, the pineal gland, all of that. And what we're finding, we're actually working on a whole new project right now with sacred geometry, with certain frequencies, with toroidal shapes and minerals that will supply these energies, these frequencies that will help us make those shifts. Because in and of ourselves, it would take lifetimes. But when you're in working with these frequencies that are being emanated from this chamber, something is happening that our bodies, like we were talking about, coming into sync with, or coming into that place of coherence, we move into those patterns and our bodies shift. And that's what happens with sacred geometry. You are actually shifting.
What do you mean our bodies shift? What is that?
Well, you know, the resonance of our bodies, everything has frequency, everything has resonance. And as we're capable of expanding what that is, then we're able to communicate with all these different dimensional qualities of what a human body and being is really capable of. We're just starting to really tap into that. You know, the ancients understood it more. And so what they did was they created structures, you know, whether they were temples or they were stones or whatever, you know, different specific patterns that allowed people to interact with those galactic aspects of what was very, very important to them, whether it was the sun, whether it was different planets. You know, they recognized just how important that was.
What it means practically for people that, say, wear a pendant like this, carry something in their pocket that we create, is they start thinking and feeling differently. And partially we've been able to, I mean, the reason is we've been able to measure with different equipment what goes on internally. The internal organs literally start coming into balance. So the person feels more balanced. They feel more focused. I have people that have gone through all kinds of things with, I mean, having to take different kinds of drugs and stuff to be calmed down, to be focused, and they find they don't need to do that anymore. It's something that allows people to connect to the higher part of themselves. And that's a remarkable thing in terms of your intuition, in terms of your ability to watch yourself from a higher perspective and not take this character so personally. You know, we get so wrapped up in him or her, it, that we can't really look and see what's going on, get the bigger picture, and be able to shift our lives in a way that we can feel the happiness that comes from within inside. The love, the joy, that's where it comes from within us, and yet it's blocked by our own belief systems, by our negative thoughts, by our the environment. Pardon me?
So that kind of leads us into the next question. How does your work support, you know, the expanding heart and the feminine energies?
You see, the heart is really the doorway to higher self. And so the pendants that we make have two sides, and they're designed to be worn over the heart area. So what literally starts happening is this is the portal, this is the doorway to higher self. And when we access higher self through that portal, it can come through, and that's what operates the brain. We don't exist within this space within our ears, we exist on a much larger scale. And that's where the information comes from. That's where the ability to create comes from, that higher aspect of ourselves.
And that creative self is really, that's the feminine energy. That's where we play into our intuition, where we start to work with seeing the world in a way of not being a victim of it, but understanding that we are the creative being. And, you know, it takes getting out of our mental realm and coming in and feeling it and loving it and bringing that compassion and that real sense of birthing who we're, you know, capable of being and what we can offer as humans.
And there's so much going on the planet right now that's creating angst and worry, and people, you know, are in reaction to so much negativity. And as we all know, you know, the more you are in reaction to it, the more it persists, the stronger it gets, and we get caught in these spirals where it becomes very difficult to see how we can be in control of our lives, how we can feel, you know, a financial flow coming, how we can feel love coming, how we can feel health coming into our lives. And when we are in that coherent, connected state, then all of what's positive starts flowing into our lives, and what's negative, sometimes it does come up into our face so we can recognize it. That's what I mean when I say we're at a higher perspective looking in. And then when something happens and I'm not being the best that I can be, I need to learn all the time. I'm in this process of being a human being with everybody else, and that means there are always things to learn and to grow. And so this is a tool that helps me have that perspective and that position to hold my sense of space in the heart and feel okay no matter what's going on with what I see in the world, what we see on television or read in the papers. It's like what we can do to make a difference in our lives around us is what we focus on, and that's the way it changes the world, by changing this being first with that love and that consciousness.
Very, very smart statement. A lot of people don't get it. They go to bed, they tell their partners or spouses, I love you, but they don't love themselves. So how can they, project that if they don't love themselves? Very, very smart statement. So how are these tools tuned to higher frequencies that can facilitate healing, well-being, and maybe abundance?
Well, a lot of it is like when I hold up one of these tools, like this that you can carry in your pocket. Inside are about 35 different antenna systems. And these are things we've been working with for literally the last 40 years, and as I said, as a business in the last 31. And so what we've discovered is certain shapes, certain kinds of materials, certain ways of combining them together. And it's very complicated what goes in there, and the way we fold one thing over another. And we are capable of creating resonant frequencies that literally reach into source dimension, the highest dimensions. And it's rare to find things on this planet that can clearly resonate with the highest dimensional frequencies. And sometimes it's because what we're building here, I'm working with higher dimensional beings that are building them on the 5th dimensional level, 6th dimensional levels, to create a resonance to pass energy through. And we work with sound frequencies, we work with inert gases, we work with electron beams to vaporize certain elements onto a substrate, where we're able to build up molecular geometric systems that have a profound effect. I work with carbon fiber, I work with fiber optic material, I work with different kinds of precious metals, and all of these things combine, and it's constantly a learning process where we'll be asked to do something, then information will come through, and we'll see, oh, here's a way we can improve upon what we've been doing. And so that's been the process over the last 30 years. We've been working together constantly, and we feed back and forth from each other to make sure that we're on track, and then we field test it, and we test it with equipment, and we put it out there, and we listen to the feedback we get from people. And sometimes when we're building it, I don't really know exactly how it's going to work. It's always a bigger surprise when we're done than I could have imagined when I was building it.
Yeah, honestly, Peter, there are times that we'll wonder, is this real? And as we're going through it,
I've been there a few times.
And you learn over time that you honor what's coming in, and you must test it out, because you got to find out if it's real, if it's for real or not. And so, and we have gone through months of our research and development, and we finally have that tool, and we experience, and it's like, oh my gosh, this really works. You can really feel this stuff. And then we start putting it out to people and getting their experiences and finding out, wow.
You see, that's a very interesting way to work. Unfortunately, I don't have that ability to do that. I have my left hand and my right hand, and they're constantly arguing with something when I create something new. So when I build something like the HFA, like Aquaware, the Source 4, or any of the other products that we sell, I know it's going to work. Otherwise, A, would not have been given the information. B, conceptually in my head, there's just no way I could have pulled this out of anywhere. So by the time, I've conceptualized it and it's sitting or running or doing what it's doing, there's no doubt in my mind that it does exactly what I say it's going to do, and that's the end of it. Off into the world it goes. And the testimonials that keep arriving day in and day out on the website are a testament to that type of doing. But however you guys are doing it, there's energies that I'm watching behind you, in front of you, on the sides of you, and moving through you as this show is rolling in real time. So you're definitely doing something on the mark for sure. So
well, yeah, what we meant by that really was that it's always more than we can imagine. We're totally guided and directed, and we've been doing this, and I've been doing this in my life for over 40 years, where I've been experiencing.
You're being guided and directed, okay? But you also have unlimited your thinking, thereby unlimiting your potential. There's lots of people out there that dream up stuff, but it's from a conditioned standpoint, okay? I'm not going to go into it, but when you unlimit your thinking, you're instantly in those higher realms of vibration to accept that information, and that information completely unlimits your ability to build such devices that you do. And of course they work, because you call it resonant frequency, I call it frequency, levels of vibration. There's 24 names for it, but whatever. You're in that higher pathway, so you're going to automatically get these downloads, whatever you want to call it. I get my downloads, I get my absolutely brilliant ideas when I'm in the shower and there's water running over my body and I'm half asleep, I haven't had my coffee and I'm still like this. Okay, that's when the magic happens for me. And it happens differently for everyone.
When I said earlier that water is capable of bridging the dimensions, one of the best things to do with your body is to have water running over it. It literally is creating a higher dimensional connection when that's happening. And in a sense, it's cleaning more than your body. It's cleaning your aura. It's moving the stuff out. So that makes sense that would be one of the perfect times for that connection to exist.
Okay, so let's shift focus a little bit. I'm very interested in the Heart Companion product. How does it affect people, and what is it?
Yeah, basically what it is, and you might see, I don't know whether you can see Gregory's or not.
I want those two. Specifically those two.
There is, are you going to take it off?
I'll take it off.
Okay. So one of the things, Peter, for years we created these larger structures, these geometries that people would put in their offices, in their bedrooms, in their sanctuaries, wherever it was. And what we wanted to create was something that people could have on their body all the time. And after many, many years of different kinds of, we had one different kind of pendant and then another. And this pendant now we've had for about 3 or 4 years. We had to redesign it because there's so many different antenna systems inside that we needed more space. So we developed a whole new design that has a front and a back. In fact, one of the shapes that's on what we call our earth face in the center is something called the Vesica Pisces. The Vesica Pisces is that divine feminine form that is the womb. That's where all creation begins. And so these structures are really about being able to stay connected, being more of who we are, not being thrown off balance, being more intuitive, being more creative, more on purpose. I mean, just even like practical things like not procrastinating. I mean, we found that over and over again. People are getting a sense of their why, their purpose, and they're just staying with it. It's pretty amazing.
Do you find that the more intricate and complicated a design that you come up with, it has more of an effect of what it's intended to do versus maybe something that's very simple?
I'm going to let you answer that.
No. I mean, it's like everything, they all have purposes. And so sometimes the more evolved designs that have more going on with them have a different resonant frequency than another one that might be simpler, but they both have their purpose at the right time. And so I'm using, that's the nice thing about these. I have probably 8 or 9 different geometric forms on the inside. I have them on the inside of the circuit boards. I have them on the outside of the pendant. And so I can use a lot of different shapes. And then, you know, we were playing with the Metatron's cube. Here's the very basic, simple star tetrahedron. And it's the beginning form that really, it's called the Merkaba often, which is one of the light bodies for the human being to travel and work with higher energy. Now, this form that's been spinning back here, this is also a Merkaba, and this is one of a higher vibrational nature, and part of it is the complexity, and part of it is all the different points. But this particular form, what it's capable of doing is reaching into a higher vibrational body that works with compassion. It works with the Christ body. And Jesus wasn't Christed when he came onto the planet. He drew this energy down, this energy of compassion, this energy of love, and instilled it into the planet. And that was part of his mission and his offering. And so working with this form, what I've found is people start opening their heart. They start working with more compassion and love in their lives because it's activating that aspect. Now, is this better because it's more complicated than this one? It's different. Often guidance, you know, they don't like bigger, better, best. They like different for different purposes. What do you want to use it for? And that's what we'll create and design it for. And the pendants, they offer a broad field of energy for every human being. It holds that space so you don't have to constantly be thinking about how do I stay connected. People meditate for a while in the morning sometimes, and then they go out into their day and they lose that space. By working with these tools, you stay in that meditative space constantly. I mean, that's an option. You can leave it. That's an old habit to get upset about something, but it's easier to come back to that meditative space. And sometimes I literally just put my hand on my chest over my pendant, and I realize none of this makes any difference. It's how I take it, how I read it, what I want to do with it. That's what makes the difference.
Gregory, here's an interesting observation. As you were talking about your heart opening up, the sun just kind of opened up on your chest. I don't know if you noticed that. Stranger things have happened. We have a couple questions from the listening audience. Donna?
You bet. You bet. Sorry, still muted. Yeah, we do have some questions, and I want to start with T. Witten. T, or Witten, T says, hello, I bought a Wii Dot Connect. What is the best way to use this tool for best results?
A We Connect, what we've created with that is something that takes, like when I was holding up.
Is that a video game?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Really, Peter?
Running around. No, but the little people are us, and we're in this game, and we can make it a pleasant experience. And so what the We Connect does is it takes the energy of this form and it puts it out through the entire environment. And so it's good just to run it in your environment, and things start mellowing out. The EMFs, the frequencies in the environment start mellowing out. And if you meditate in front of it or with it or work with your intent, I mean, everything Peter talks about with intent, if you listen to him, I'm sure you're going to learn this is an important part of our entire life process. You bring that intent to the We Connect, and you're in that space of coherence because of its movement, because of the vibration that's created. And then it's easier for you to get into the space of let's ask for the things in my environment that are of a higher nature. You know, often when we want something, we want it sometimes from our lower ego self, but the more you connect with your heart and the more you understand that you can be coming from a place of beingness, from higher self, then when you want the car, then when you want to connect to someone, somehow you're guided in a way where perfection expresses itself for everyone and for the good of all. And that's really where we're working all the time, to be of service for the good of all.
And you know, that's really the natural state of being, that we should have all of our sensory capabilities tuned in so that those wonderful serendipitous experiences happen. And we know, within ourselves that that is the right thing for not only ourselves, but for everyone. So the We Connect is helping us get beyond the I and get into the we with these energies.
Awesome. Donna?
Yes, that is awesome. You don't by chance have a We Connect that you can show us, do you?
You know what? I'll get one. Hold on a minute.
Okay. And while she's doing that, let me ask a question of you, Gregory. One of the questions that we have in the chat from Valerie, she's saying, so having any of these tools helps us hold the frequency more easily as opposed to relying on doing a variety of processes. What's your comment to that?
Yes, true. You know, it's like these are all supports to hold that higher connection. And in truth, it's very, very difficult for us as human beings. We get thrown off all the time, and we're thrown off by what's going on in our environment. We can't shift all the electromagnetic frequencies that are impinging upon us. Other people's emotional body. The emotional body of the planet is very, very thick around us, and it makes it difficult for those higher frequencies to come in. When you're off in nature by yourself, it's an easier space. When you're meditating, it's an easier space. So when you can carry that feeling of nature with you, when you can carry that feeling of connection through meditation with you, then you are operating at your optimum. And you're operating from a place of consciousness and love. I have so many people that will put these things on and they say, everybody at work is being nicer to me now. And it's going, okay, you know, did they change? What in you changed that is, one, the way you view the way they're treating you, or two, also the way you are putting out a frequency and energy that animals love this stuff. I mean, dogs are attracted to it. Cats are attracted to it. That's why we made a tool called the Pet Connect for animals to be able to be in that space as well. So,
Sounds like a motorcycle.
okay.
Yeah, I was trying to mute my mic so that wouldn't come up. But yes, thank you for that.
So, this is actually, we have a motor that spins this form. This is the We Connect. It has something in the middle. This form, the the I Connect, and this is an advanced I Connect, sits on top. And this whole piece is on a spinning motor. This ring, which has 3 wires and a silver star in the center, that's over the whole motor. We're in the process of developing new motors because we couldn't find one that spun at exactly the right speed. We have now something that goes inside that motor that also produces a frequency of about, well, I'll tell you what it is. It's 28.333 megahertz. And that creates a field that has a powerful effect on this piece because it has that same crystal inside it that resonates with that. So, I mean, there's so much involved in everything that we do. It becomes very complicated to try to explain it. It just sounds like, I don't know, a lot gibberish sometimes, perhaps. But
Gregory, do you find that you obviously plug it into the wall, I would assume, and it creates a AC circuit. Do you find that AC frequency plays around with the frequency that's actually coming out of the device at all?
no, the device actually mutes it. Actually, you see, the thing about AC is that it's 60 hertz here in the States. And it's not inherently as bad as it is just so ubiquitous that it is everywhere, and it's blocking out other things that want to come through. So this literally punches a hole through that and takes all the other ambient EMF frequencies and puts them into a coherent field. And when we have coherence around us, then we can rise to a more coherent state.
So I'm interested in the mechanics of why the device has to spin. What in a world that creates energy, moves energy, why does something physically need to be plugged in and spinning?
Okay, because spinning increases the field, and everything, even when we think about wavelengths of light, they're spinning. Everything is spinning.
But you're the creator of the product, right? Why can't you command in its creation that the field will be a certain width and so shall it be? Why don't you do that, and why is it maybe not possible? And the reason I've been down these roads. Now you, Gail and Gregory, you guys work as a really good team to create this stuff. I don't have a team. I have myself. And I have an engineering background. I spent 20 years working in technology on Wall Street, and now I question everything I do. And some of the first designs that I came up with used for the HFA for the car, the harmonic field amplifier. You'd plug it into the cigarette lighter and it would do something. Or I needed a moving part for this, or I needed an electrical circuit for that. And when I started boiling it down, everything I create is simple in design, powerful in what it does, but yet beautiful. And this device uses no moving parts, has no moving parts, no electricity, but yet creates a field big enough to do what it does to the transportation, the mode of transportation that you're in, and yourself and the energies around you.
True. And you know what it comes down to is there is an opportunity I've always found to include more energies into the situation. And what I've found with particular speeds, I mean, our planet is moving at a particular speed, and it's moving around the sun, and the sun is moving around the center of the galaxy. And all this is having an effect on us. So we're in constant movement through all of this. And so by bringing particular resonant movements, cycles, and that's part of sacred geometry. What is the cycle of the spin? What is the harmonic that's created by doing that? And I found that on one hand, you know, we could keep reductionist thinking going to the point where, okay, do I need any of this? Do I need a human body? You know, but we are here in the physical. We are interacting with physical things, and we're moving through fields, and we're moving around, so movement is part of it. I also like to work with light with things. I like to work with sound. I work with, you know, those are other aspects of energy flow from higher dimensional realms. And so by combining them, and not just depending on one aspect or the other aspect, I can create something that has a much larger, more profound impact. That's been my experience. And certainly intent is important, and I like to see it being brought into the equation when you take the energy that's there and you direct it in your life in the way that you need and you intend.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Donna, we have another question?
Yeah, I'm burning to ask this one. So, Nichelle is new to the Modern Day Mystic Show, and big shout out to Nichelle because she was Googling, well, I should say YouTubing, searching for sacred geometry, and boom, this came up. So, Nichelle wants to know, what's creating the frequencies that you guys are talking about?
So what we're speaking to is that source, the source field, source vibration that supports everything we see. It moves, like we've just been talking about movement. We talk about the way it comes into this dimension. We often define it as the electromagnetic spectrum. And those are all waves that move. But they don't just move like this. They move in circles and cycles, spirals. And so we can measure those in different frequencies. And so source is creating the frequencies, and it's just a way that we have of understanding different energies by saying, well, this frequency produces something in the light spectrum. This frequency produces something in another part of the electromagnetic spectrum. And then when you look at the microscopic nature of the world and you look into atoms, atoms are all vibrating. Molecules are vibrating. Everything is vibrating. It's a vibration. And the way you understand that vibration from our human perspective is frequency. So source creates all of this around us, and it does it through one way of understanding it, frequency. So source creates frequency, and we just call it green.
I love your explanations.
Awesome.
I should hire you to do the frequently asked questions on my products. I'll write them, you answer them.
Okay, we'll have fun.
So, okay, we are coming to the end of our time this evening. Gail and Gregory, can you tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you and take a look at your products and services?
Absolutely, and I think it's on our banner here. Our website is www.iconnecttoall.com. That's the number 2, ALL.com. And that has all of our products, all of our contact information, lots and lots of connections. You can even go into our YouTube channel through our website and see some of our dialogues and get more information about what we've been doing all these years and the benefits and the, you know, how it's really made a difference in people's lives. And Gregory is, he's doing some great teaching right now also, so that you can get some basics about what sacred geometry is on that three-dimensional level. And so there's a lot of fun stuff there. www.iconnecttoall.com.
Awesome. Donna?
Yes, and of course, we want to thank you for being on the show with us tonight. Big shout out to both of you. That hour went quickly. Georgia was saying, oh my gosh, that went quick. It did. So I know when it goes quick like this, we have to have you back. You gave us a lot of great information, so thank you for that. We much appreciate it.
Great.
So, and real quick, I just want to say, please connect with them on Facebook. They have a Facebook page. It's Metaforms. So type in Metaforms. You'll see their picture. It's Metaforms Sacred Geometry Tools in Facebook. Connect with them there. Of course, make sure you hit us up on our website, moderndaymystic.com, and hang out with Peter for a Modern Day Mystic or for an MDM Minute.
I just want to say something to the effect of the products. Folks, I don't own any of their products, but believe me, I will be getting them.
Me too.
Very rarely. I mean, we have a lot of really intuitive guests on the MDM show. We have a lot of people that have some really incredible products, but I just want to say that your products stand apart from most of what we've shown on the show before. They're just absolutely amazing. I mean, this whole hour, I'm just kind of trying to stay focused, but spacing out at the same time, just watching what's happening in your home, and it's crazy. It's absolutely beautifully crazy. So I will definitely be taking a look at your inventory, and I would really like other people to take a look at it too. It's really amazing stuff. Amazing.
Thank you. And you know, Peter, I think since you did the water activation and with all of these energies that we're generating here, I was vibrating just off the charts for a while. It was just, I don't, you know, and I'm sure people are feeling it out there as well.
Oh, absolutely. Gregory, Gail, thank you very, very much. Awesome products, awesome people. Really good show tonight. Thank you, Donna. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, both of you. Blessings.
Blessings.
Blessings. Good night, everyone.